Well, hello the internet, it's Ghost here, and welcome to episode 38 of Creative Minecraft. This is also the stretch of 3 episodes that are about to come out over the next week and a half, in which I have to record with the voiceovers in the same day, because, I'm going to be in France when this episode drops. Yes, I will be. I'm not going to be in Dover. So, hello, welcome to building... I think originally my plan was this was going to be like a house for like a Fletcher or something. It's not going to be that. This is where there's going to be a pottery person, because we have the kilns up on like a couple of levels above this section because we're still down working in the market. I think this might be the last episode on the market, if not the second to last. I'm not totally sure. I haven't been keeping track. I just made sure I had enough footage to cover up to episode 40. So my choice of block palette for this, I won't lie, it didn't turn out how I envisaged it in my head. I should have just used oak entirely on this build to get the look I wanted. It probably needed to be a bit bigger than it was so I could put in more details. But yeah, the colour palette I went with was using terracotta and orange terracotta to blend that together to make it look as though at one point in time the house was actually orange, but now it's been around a while, it's sort of missing some of its paint in areas. I also decided to contrast that by using the dark prismarine on the roof, as we don't have like a true green block I can use as a roof, so dark prismarine was the best we were going to get. I used oak wood for the different beam supports and put those in first, so I made sure as I was building I knew what I was intending to work with. And I wanted to make the whole downstairs area a workshop space and then have the upstairs be the living area. There's probably better ways I could do this. Again, I think if I'd given myself a little more space to build this house, it probably would have looked better. I also think I shifted it too far away from the blacksmiths. But by the time I realised that, I decided I was committed to the build and I wasn't stopping to tear it down and rebuild, because, as I said before, trying to mass film footage while also working on getting a project ready for a submission that had to be done right before I go. That's been a fun couple of days. So for the doors, I decided to try and make it look as though it was like sliding doors that could go across. So you have one door that just opens, and on the other side there's then a series of, it's either 2 or 3 trap doors to fill that gap in the middle, because the archway is 3 blocks wide rather than just 2. I then went in and added things that I figured could kind of work as tools for working with clay. There's a pottery sherd on an item frame that I decided they're working on, and they're using this banner as a reference for their design. There's then the archaeology brushes to brush away. I guess you wouldn't do that if you were working with just regular clay, would you? Maybe they're cleaning up the pottery shards, I don't know. You make up your own little story. And then I went and looked for different kind of just clutter. I do try and clutter up different areas to make them feel lived in. I do have the issue with one of my past builds that, even though I'm really proud of it because it was me trying to start building with different block palettes, it was the previous town we were working on actually, there isn't a lot of stuff in the streets. It's very clean. All of the walls are the same colour. We're now trying to work on making it feel more alive, and I think potentially when we go on to a different town after this, because I'm going to keep on building towns, this place is going to feel more alive. You know, when we're learning, we are working on things. I then went in and started adding some hanging signs into areas. I meant to beeswax them, but apparently didn't. I might have done. I might have just missed me doing that, who knows. And then I decided to add this little market stall in between the 2 houses to try and fix that issue of there being slightly too big of a gap. I should have left it at a 2-block gap rather than the 3-block gap I actually went with. I then went and picked out some wool to do some hanging like bunting. I don't really know why I wanted to do bunting. I just felt, oh, that's a little bit of fun. I then dyed another banner so that it had a gradient and put that down the end. Ended up switching around the way I did it because it looked a bit weird, and yeah, that's my logic to that bit. What else have we done? This really is... Okay, I kept adding bunting. I wanted to try and connect little areas across wherever there was enough space to throw in some bunting, so it wasn't just that one singular bit. I wanted to try and make everything look cohesive. The colours then also help blend it up to that deserty section up on the next layer. Please excuse, I've literally just had lunch. You know when you eat food and it then makes it so you can't talk clearly? That is the problem I'm having. But I have to get these done so I can export everything and upload them. And then try and record a additional Minecraft episode so that when I come back I don't have to do that. Because we're back. I don't remember what day I'm actually back on. But I know I've got to do the next video in like relatively quick succession. I'm going to have loads of photos to go through. So I then started adding in all of these different kind of just bits of junk, bits of, I guess, like, maybe these are bits of like salvaged redstone components that someone's gone around and grabbed. I don't know if everywhere in the world has these, but sometimes here in the UK we have like these like vans that have like the flat beds in the back, like a cage on them, and they put like old washing machines and stuff that's died in. They go around and they're ringing a bell. I don't remember the last time we actually had that. I think, to be fair, it's probably been at least a year, but I remember at least when I was younger, particularly in the summer, they'd come around and they'd gather up old scrap metal. So I kind of imagined that's what this person might have done. And I then decided to build a giant tree. I decided there was too much of a gap, but I made the foolish error of not taking my thumbnail. So I'd like to apologise for how poorly laid out the photo is in this thumbnail. Where I just kind of build for long periods of time, I don't think about pre-taking my thumbnails, so they end up having to be taken in and around everything else that's already been built. So you might occasionally get spoilers in thumbnails. I don't think you really do with this one or the next ones, because the houses are relatively spaced out. But yeah, I built an oak tree because I could, and I wanted to fill up that space because composition-wise I didn't like it. It looked kind of just too flat. There's a lot of work I need to do with the composition of trying to blend the layers together. It looks a little weird in my opinion at the minute, but again, that's a me learning how to do stuff kind of situation. And bear in mind, I think the first build for this was back in, I want to say like December last year, the first couple of builds I did for the harbour, and look at it now, it's really coming to life. I really do like this area. Some of it's a bit odd. I think the mountain shape doesn't help, but in this final little clip I started adding in some leaf litter, trying to just polish off the area that I guess really it's not polishing because you are just adding clutter. But I wanted to put it in the corners so it looks like where the winds come in, it's blown all the leaves. I should have added some on that bottom layer in front of the wall. I think maybe I'm about to do that, or I did it off camera. But I still have this other little section left to build something in. That will be in like either the next episode or a couple episodes time. But I will see you all again on Wednesday, the internet. Goodbye.